actually not like for like rapping. It's for.
Word! Yeah, Pinoy in the house. What's up? There's like 2 of us in the entire university.
That's all that is.
Oh, word! Yeah, we're taking over.
Taking over. All right, yo. This is my first time at Verbal Mayhem.
Oh, you already have a 1 in your name.
Who put me on? Actually, I have 3 shout-outs for people that put me on. Aaliyah Pierce, who is my already my man Michael Joel, who isn't here anymore, but down to you, and my namesake over here, Jeremy. Alright, so I wrote this thing called No because that's a word that I've been hearing a lot all my life. So like, you know what? Why not? I'll just write some random about it a little bit. I don't ever do spoken words, but you know what? Why not? She's known it all her life. The drive through it all has yet to give her a side of fries, but she's gotten the entree drowned by the cries of her heart when the word no is uttered to her. 3 times rejected by 3 separate music schools, and she was shattered. She knew by then that she had to abandon her original dream of being under the spotlight as her career. The thought constantly bites her in the rear when someone tells her that each no was a mistake. She too keeps thinking that it's fake, that one day she'll wake up and it'll all be a mirage. But she woke up today, and those 3 no's were from 3 separate places were in her inbox, still there, still hers. That the keys she's been pressing and the notes that she's been hidden are still going to be sitting down waiting for him to call back. He has become sort of a hopeless romantic. And by the time he's heard that rejection the 10th time from the girls he's fallen for, he's become numb to it. And to sum it all up, the no's were the most frequent, but the worst were the maybes. The maybes were full of uncertainties and half-assed apologies that he's just grown to not expect not too much from him. The maybe some other day left him on the porch with a rose in his hand, as if the girl in his dreams was just going to show up at his front porch. The I'm sure we can still be friends has been scribbled on those notes only to be washed away like messages in a bottle in a sea full of could-have-beens. The white noise on the other line of the phone just reminds him of how alone he's been all his life. But then he realizes the less he expects, the less disappointed he gets. It's come to the point where his friends stop asking him if there's a girl in his life because it's the same answer. His responses have become too much of a broken record for him to care anymore. Rejection is a reoccurring dream that just doesn't let go. The no's that accrued throughout my life cover my wall of dreams, and they have made it seem that my definition of a dream comes with an expectation of a rejection that follows it. No, I'm not a whiny little dog waiting for a bone to be thrown at me. I'm tired. I'm tired of being told there's no room in a show. After watching the 10th singer sing sorry as if it was a serenade to me, because I don't need to be told that there is no innocent one in this game for 2. I'm tired of the lie that's etched out. It's not because you're bad. Because of the mediocrity that unfolds on the stage that could have been. I'm tired of the same shit on a different day. It's like you want me to say I give up, but it's just become a waiting game for me. Because I'm waiting for the next no, because that's what the word has become the most prevalent in my life. As if it's a knife waiting to cut me the next slice of that rare steak that bleeds like my heart that it has been these past few years. And I hate to tell you that the rejection is inevitable, the disappointment is inevitable, because you might as well change my middle name to Reject, because that's what's become what has defined me all these years. But you know what? That's okay. My middle name doesn't need to be a hopeless reminder of what has happened to me, but rather, it is now and forever will be the glimmer of hope in a dark time. Maybe if I do try again, the rhyme will change and I won't ever have to experience that feeling again. But still across the bend, there will still be that one stray car waiting to run the red light and run over what's personified as my hope to be on stage again. This time I'm ready to pick up the pieces. I'm ready to say fuck you to the people that have said no to me. People have told me that I'm not good enough, to the girls that tore a piece out of my heart, and people have said nope, no thank you, no, nada, no. Actually, thank you. You have given me a drive to improve the person that I am. To realize that my art is still but an unchiseled block waiting to be sculpted and polished into that $1 million piece. There's still blemishes in me, but that's all right. The no's may have chipped away at my soul, but the promise of a better future strengthens it. The spotlight is here, what's been said has been said, and I, Jeremy Emmanuel Gonzalo, the kid that has had hope in his middle name his whole life, have been asked many times if I'm stopping anytime soon. And what is my answer? No.
Cool. So yesterday I had the opportunity of a lifetime to go to the premiere of Chirac. Do anybody know what movie I'm talking about? The new Spike Lee joint? Alright. So honestly, if you haven't heard about it, go watch the preview. It's coming out this Friday. It's the best movie I'm gonna say it's the best movie I've ever seen because it was.
Is it a comedy?
It is a comedy, like not really a comedy. It's a satire, so it's like making fun of shit. So it's funny, but it's like not really funny because it's serious issues.
I'm just saying, how serious can it be? Nick Cannon in it.
No, wait, so I met him yesterday. And
You met Nick Cannon?
I met Nick Cannon. I met Wesley Snipes yesterday.
Did you ask him what it was like to have a career that only survived like 9 years?
Stop. Okay, listen, no, seriously, Nick Cannon's really good in it. Go watch it. It's really good. And it's for a good cause. It's a really good movie. It has a good message. It has a really good message. And if you're a female, I think you'll really like walk out of the theater feeling good about yourself because I did. Chirac. SCHI-RAQ. Okay. So yeah, it relates to my poem, I guess. So, okay. I sleep with one eye open. Bullets fire outside my window pane. Chilltown city soldiers dying every day. I walk the streets and homeless men and women beg at my feet, pleading eyes, screaming, "Leave, save me." I'm sorry, I need the change for the bus when I could just walk home, but my feet hurt. Yet this man on his knees doesn't even own a pair of sneakers. I'm sorry that I've fallen victim to this first world privilege, that I complain about my mother's shortcomings when I should ask forgiveness for being so selfish when kids in projects get killed in drive-bys instead of lullabies. My abuela says, "Mija, pray every night," but I can't bring myself to kneel to a God that doesn't have my city in his sight. Decaying brick buildings are cash cows for politicians while the single mothers inside work for half the cost of their linked cuffs. Our youth trading in diplomas for guns, banging Suwu because Lil Wayne made it look fun. But bullets don't have eyes, and every time one flies, another child loses their life. My city has 408 crimes per square mile. Meanwhile, you have a 1 in 154 chance of being raped, murdered, to become a victim to a heinous crime. You can blame the population because there aren't enough whites, but the real crime is how many of us are below the poverty line. But the hood is being gentrified. It's all right. The projects got knocked down, pushed blacks and Hispanics out. What is everyone complaining about? My friend's boyfriend was shot in the heart a block from his house, tried to get out of gangbanging, but couldn't dodge blood in and blood out. He was going to college, trying to find a way to make a living, trying to avoid becoming another statistic. I know too many killers and twice as many victims. I fear that my city will never recover from the mayhem. I hope you heard the new Jim Crow is mass incarceration. From police brutality to de facto segregation, but our president is black, so things must be changing. Even though he's half white and talks right, and he's not Muslim, so he must be all right. The seed of oppression planted by slavery has set our people back centuries, making it hard to be an ethnicity in an urban city like Jersey City. So fuck a prayer, stand up and protest, stand up against gun violence and scream the names of those you lost to the grand scheme, created to make sure the black man don't succeed. The change starts with you and me.
I actually read this before, but it was a really long time ago, and this is also a completely different audience, so I'm actually going to read it again.
Verse?
Run that back.
Wait, sorry?
First time since the last time?
So I guess, yeah. But I wrote this over the summer, and it's a love poem, and I actually had a huge crush on my best friend over the summer. But so this is, I wrote this poem right after, I wrote this poem right after I was able to tell this person that I had a crush on them, and it was also the first poem that I was ever able to write about them, so. There's a fear of writing, and I'm pretty sure it's called being in love. Poetry is just as embarrassing as saying, "I really, really, really like you" for the first time. It's just as complex as all the different shades of sadness that rush up your spine every now and then when you stumble into foreign colors, soft skin pressed against your sleepy cheek. It is just as deep as the tips of our fingers, a gentle prick massaging your sadness, rubbing into your skin like lotion until you are terribly soft. Writing does not make us weak, it makes us soft. And there is a fear of being strong, and I think it is called being in love, or wanting to be in love, or wanting to love. And I can't count all the times that I've crumbled to the ground because I couldn't allow myself to risk the watery touch of those ocean eyes bashing against my rock. And I can't count all the dreams that I chose to forget, those soggy mornings full of whispered colors, salty words, tsunamic feelings. Well, I forgot just so I could lock up this sentiment. Love used to be water that I couldn't drink, but then I learned how to choke, and I can't count all the poems that I never wrote. There's a fear that I am writing. This poem is for lonely walks and stuffing our eardrums with sobs and laughter. And this poem is for the rhythms of the sky drumming against our throats. This poem is for used tea bags being jolted back to flavor with more hot water. And this poem is for the slightly out of tune pianos croaking out a love song because of 10 gently passionate fingers. It is for the rain and jumping in puddles and the smell of wet gravel, for the stars and gravity and those who love to travel to blossoming planets, for the gardeners who love to create and discover the effects that beauty can spark like sleepy conversations. This poem is for the deep, deep slumbers and the secret conversations your mind has with the mattress. It is for the cuddling and hand-holding and the softening, like vanilla ice cream smeared into a smile and sugar coating your quiet teeth. This poem is for everything that I love. And I am embarrassed. And these feelings are so complex. And in this moment, I am deep, deep, deep. But I'm not afraid or weak, because this poem is for everything that I love. And so what I'm trying to say is that this poem is entirely for you.
Boring music with no beat to get down to. I could probably be found talking about it to people who could care less, like right now. Part of cars, I listen to opera for fun. How fucked up is that? In all seriousness, I'm not here to talk to you about old dead white guys. I'm here to talk to you about how classical music was never about old dead white guys. I'm a musician, but you don't have to be a classical musician to hear the name Beethoven. We hear a lot about Beethoven, but I never heard, and I bet none of y'all never heard, from any of my textbooks that he was black. But loving ink on paper flowing directly from the warmth of his friends and family make that fact clear, and I hold that close to my chest just in case people ignore it. One of the most important composers of all time, who knew? That's right, we fucking didn't. See, the most popular classical subgenre is the Romantic period. Guess who deserves the patent for the whole style? That's right, Beethoven. This was a man who agonized over whether to stick to form as he had been taught or letting his emotions flood manuscripts through ink as dark as his skin. You see, Beethoven was a tormented, romantic man who kept conducting long after his pieces were finished because the music never started or ended with his ears. And who perfected the Romantics? Arguably Tchaikovsky. Now, Tchaik may have been as white as the snowflakes that he wrote a waltz for, but if we're talking about the Nutcracker, he was more interested in the Prince than the Sugar Plum Fairy. Know what I'm saying?
I think I get it.
Except they wanted us to ignore that too. Sensuality weighed heavy in Tchaikovsky's mind, and he transferred it to other people's feet. This was a man who wrote a whole symphony about fate. Do you think he knew he would be bullied to death over something he could not change? And as for Beethoven, despair and torment whispered from his mouth to his own deaf ears. Their music is a voice unto itself, requiring no lyrics to make their meaning plain. Am I really supposed to go along when you call it boring? When some composers write senseless waterfall wearing at stone kinds of grief into organized scores, where classical music is the only genre that can express the sensation of nighttime opening its mouth and breathing out stars. When one of the ways we analyze music is through talking about the color of the sound. There are pieces where you can hear waves towering and falling purely through stepwise motion. Classical music has the ocean as its heartbeat. And if we're talking about the music of the people, music of the revolutions, let my lips speak the name Shostakovich. Let me speak of the steady disappearance of his friends and family, the way he cried after every performance, of the way Stalin bristled in insult because his music was so clearly anti-regime. Despite never having a single goddamn lyric, whoever said you needed a microphone to voice a revolution when there are trumpets in the air? This was never meant for old white people, never meant to die out in empty, crumbling facades of concert halls, leaving lone violins to sing their songs to an open sky. It's for the black kids, especially those who think classical music never wanted them, taking back what should always have been theirs. It's for the gay kids, who can claim ballet as more than a stereotyped facet of their heritage. It's for all the girls who never knew that Mozart's older sister had twice his talent and none of the exposure. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the name Mozart should be a monument to her genius. The real question is, though, why the hell did I have to find out all of this from the internet?
Yeah. Anyway, this is a really gross, nasty poem. No, not that, like literally just gross, nasty. Her fingers dig graves across your legs, and you are curling into her palm, but you pause and say, "Can we smoke more? Because I don't have the courage to touch you right now." But that's not the important part. Once you get past the burn in your bodies, you know, her melting on your palate, the mountains that climb across your skin when she takes you in, her soft lips, her soft lips. There was a moment when you drive her home and you stare at her jacket as she walks through the front door, and you realize it's too late. She has already painted herself on the back of your eyelids, her colors bleeding into your iris. The image of her body splayed out like a cityscape, skin flecked with freckles like checkpoints of places you are begging God, no, you are begging her to let you visit or revisit. And in the morning, you wake up and pull out a strand of her hair from your mouth. Thank you.
Yo, bro, you've been jamming out to every song I put on, bro. Thank you.
That's just because he dabbles in it. When people see me, they say I look just like him. But I want people to see me and say I'm not like him. Because when I see myself, I know I can't be like him. Because being likened to him is a dark place. A darkness with glimmers of light that feel like darkness. A darkness I know too well. See, the last time I experienced this darkness that I perceived as light, I was 6. And him was light, and light was him, at least in my eyes. I vividly remember him zipping up my coat, hugging me, kissing me, rubbing my head, and telling me that I was loved by him. And I couldn't help but light up. I smiled. A smile that would probably put me in a headlock if I didn't have ears. Then the light was gone when I got home that night. And even though I knew the bill was paid, I couldn't help but to blame myself for the light being cut off. Okay, let's start with all the symbolism. My father wasn't there. He left me because he loved himself more. Or maybe it was that whore. Yeah, that whore called crack cocaine. Or that white is a serious thing. Hell, it took my second father. I mean, my mother too. So my grandmother took me under her wing. And she always made sure I had a full stomach, clothes on my back, and a roof over my head. You see, being a provider was her thing. We went to church 4 out of 7 days, but she couldn't help me see the God in me. That was something I yearned for my father to do. But I don't think he could or even wanted to. So now, I got my own son. People see me and they say he looks just like me. And every time I hear those words, I have to wrestle with the insecurity of not raising my son with the mindset of I'm not going to be like him. Because I don't want my son to experience that darkness. That darkness I know too well. So I no longer beat myself or question why it took years, but I had to let the bitterness and hatred towards the darkness die. And now I look my son in the eye and I say, son, you see the way I respect and love your mother? That's how kings treat queens. Son, you see the way I take care of my mother? That is what being a servant for your family means. You see, I hug you and kiss you, but never leave you. That's so you never feel shame. The example that I am setting will be the legacy of your last name. You see how I always put family first? It is not for selfish gain. Son, you see how I strive to be a man of integrity? Many times doing what's right will cause pain. You see how I take pride in not being only a provider, but a nurturer as well? Love with your heart. Make decisions with your brain. And son, when you have what you've seen created here in this house, you will have the chance of breaking the vicious cycle and throw away the chains. So just because I was never able to see a dad will never be an excuse for me to not be a dad, just like him. Thank you.
Great minds.
My sister has been married for 5 years, which for some is an impressive feat. But I still remember this one moment at her wedding when just before we were about to start eating, my dad got up to give his speech. I thought, my sister's mother just read from a Hallmark card. This couldn't possibly get any worse. It got worse. He pulled a piece of paper out of his pocket and tried to educate my sister on how to be a good wife, as if being a good person wasn't enough. Sweetie, you only need to know 4 phrases in order to keep your husband happy.
Oh my God.
Oh, for fuck's sake, he's gonna say it. Yes, dear. Right away, dear. I'm sorry, dear.
Oh, no.
And dinner's ready, dear.
That shit.
I could see the murder in my sister's eyes. A woman so powerful and so wise, reduced to a measly servant for some guy in just a few words said by her father. I give her credit for not totally losing her mind. But unfortunately, he has another daughter, me. The problem daughter, for being rebellious, but not for the reason you might think. It's instead because for almost 15 years I refused to wear the color pink, and because I refused to label myself according to what men think. Even today, my father reminds me that I should be at home washing my brother's dishes in the sink. Here's the thing, he thinks I'm a servant, that the women must stay at home and wash the curtains, cook all the dinners, and work so hard that she smells like laundry detergent. And God forbid she opens her mouth to speak her mind, then she becomes a burden. But I am too determined to fall into my father's trap. I know that I am a person with a purpose much more profound than having found a suitable husband who will cut off my father's chains and put me in new ones under the guise of a diamond. I have brighter visions in my horizon, and it frightens him to the point where he has to restate his authority by leaning back in his chair and handing me his dirty dishes. And I remind him that the only time I will clean up after a man is when I clean up his body, because I would have slaughtered that motherfucker. I ask myself, maybe this is why you were married twice, because Lord knows how many times you've mistreated your wives because you thought that their lives were solely devoted to looking cute with your favorite color lipstick, or looking good when she cleans the floor with an old broomstick, and looking sexy when she twists your dick like a godforsaken joystick. Men like you make me sick. The saddest thing is that you have even converted my mother into having these same thoughts, because she tells me you attract what you are and what you act like.
Okay.
Start acting more ladylike, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find a decent man who will want to marry you. Okay, first off, aside from the fact that I have the allure of a road-killed raccoon that's been left out in the sun for too long, but let's think about where your opinion belongs, in the fucking trash. I will sit with my legs wide open for as long as I want, work as hard as I want, curse as loud as I fucking want, because if being a person with a purpose is considered a burden, let me be polite and save that poor boy from the hurt. Because if being true to myself is a curse, I'll never get married. It'll save him money if he wants to get a divorce. Come on, Dad, don't be upset with me now. You should have known that I'd get back at you somehow. I'm your daughter. I've learned how to fight my way out of the corner. I'll wear my determination as armor, and I'll keep moving forward to my future. Don't be upset that I'm harder, better, faster, stronger than you, because my knuckles are made from garnets. I am resolve incarnate, because I've learned that any man who disrespects me is my next target, and my integrity will disintegrate his carcass. Even though I'm a bit big-hearted, this is how I grew up, how I was raised, and I will be as equally praised as my soulmate. This shit isn't up for debate. Dad, your words have left me brokenhearted. Just please listen. I'm your daughter. Now let me finish what you started.
I think we'll like this. I think we'll fight this. I think we'll bite this bullet together. Our love, we'll pull it together. Our story won a Pulitzer never, but these people want to read every chapter, but we don't do chatter because only we matter. And who would have predicted that God would have had it scripted that two havers of pigment would have gone and done did it? Gone and tried this thing called love. Many have tried a lot, would have tied the knot, but it looks more like a bow tie. Oh my. Hope it doesn't come loose like it did with that old guy. And I don't know, God, I guess it's blessing season. Because I've been blessed today. That's the only reason I can estimate. This can't be real life. Let me check the time and check the date. But why would a melanin queen with a crown of curls and a smile of pearls and a soul of wisdom want a skinny black poet inside her kingdom? But I guess you win some. I guess the winds come. I guess the wings come. Cocoon break away, butterfly away, hand to hand, heart to heart, lip to lip. I'm prouder than ever. My heart singing louder than ever. The clouds and the weather aren't withering or limiting. The grinny grin, my flirty smirk. This love is too good. Cupid must have hired some interns to do his dirty work. So he could have the time to craft design, be the mastermind behind this hearty laugh of mine. This laugh of love and release. This love is deep. I know you thought I would say that this love is sweet, but this love is smooth, silky, milky. I love her because she's her and she loves it when I'm the real me. That's lit.
I actually just heard that name recently, so put the boxes.
I love that.
So I'm gonna sing today. It's by Ed Sheeran. It's called The A-Team. I'm gonna give it a go. If you know the songs, you can sing along. White lips, pale face, breathing in the snowflakes, burn lungs, sour taste. Lights gone, days end, struggling to pay rent, long nights, strange men. And they say, hey, she's in the class 18, she's stuck in her daydream. It's been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries. And they scream, the worst things in life come free to us, cause we're just under the upper hand. Go mad for a couple grams. She don't wanna go outside tonight. And in a pipe, she flies to the motherland and sells love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly. An angel will die, covered in white. Closed eyes and hoping for a better life. This time we'll fade out tonight and straight down the line. And they say she's in the class 18, stuck in her daydream. Been this way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries. And they scream the worst things in life come free to us, cause we are just under the upper hand and go mad for a couple grams. And she don't wanna go outside tonight. In a pipe, she flies to the motherland and sends love to another man. It's too cold outside for angels to fly. An angel will die. That's it.